Stuart Watts from Tamworth again. Fortunately, we've got some time with a very, very busy man, the Director of Water and Waste for the Tamworth Regional Council. Bruce Logan, you've been here 18 years, haven't you, in this role?
I've been in this role for 18 years, but I've been in Tamworth since 1991.
1991, so you've certainly seen the town grow quite considerably.
Absolutely. In fact, I was having a look at some numbers today that the population of Tamworth has grown by 40% since 1991, the census we did in 1991 up to the 2021. So 40% increase in Tamworth. Certainly has seen huge growth.
So what's that, 1991 to 2021 would have been 30 years? So if we had that same sort of growth over the next 30 years, there's no doubt that we'll be hitting that target of 100,000 or better as far as the target population. And look, there's challenges in terms of getting there to that level of population and all the infrastructure needed. But one of the things I get asked all the time is what's in the pipeline to get over the next drought cycle, and what's Tamworth going to do to make sure that their water's secure and they can service all the new developments that are going on, both residentially and commercially. And I thought you are the best man to be able to shed some light in terms of what you've done in recent times and what you learnt from the last drought, and which I think everybody was on a bit of a learning curve there.
Well, look, there's no question that as Tamworth grows, we're going to have to find additional supplies of water.
Yep.
But we're working on that now. In the short term, I said to you that 40% increase in population since 1991, but we don't use any more water than what we used in 1991. On average, every year, we use the same amount of water as we used in 1991. So the community's been fantastic in terms of recognising the need to conserve water, and to they've learnt every year. They're learning new ways to conserve water, not just residential but business community as well. So that we're actually seeing, despite 40% population growth, our water consumption isn't going up year on year. So that's fantastic, and we need to continue to do that. But as you say, our population, if it continues to grow, and we hope that it does, we're going to have to find other water sources. In the short term, we're obviously looking at this thing called the water purification facility, which the council is lobbying both state and federal governments for money to do that, and that facility is going to be based out at our industrial area out at Glenartney, and it's going to take water from the new Bayarda abattoir, Bayarda's rendering plant, the lamb abattoir and the beef abattoir, which coincidentally all happen to be pretty close together out there. We're going to take industrial water from those facilities. We're going to treat that, recycle that water to a potable standard or a purified standard, and we're going to send it back to those same customers that gave us the water. And in Bayarda's case, that'll allow them to build a new facility which is 3 and a bit times what the existing abattoir is in town, and they won't use any more potable water than what they presently do. And for Tees and Thomas Foods, beef and lamb abattoirs, they'll be able to offset the existing use of potable water in their industrial process, and every megalitre of water that they don't use will be a megalitre of water that will be available to improve our water security. So, that's a short-term thing that we hope to get up and running in the next couple of years. Whilst we're doing that, we're working with the government, state government, to produce a Tamworth water security plan, and the idea of that plan is we're going to look at all of the options available, both infrastructure, so that's pipelines and perhaps off-stream dams and all this sort of thing, and non-infrastructure related options that we could do to improve our water security. We'll do fairly in-depth analysis of each of those options, and we'll come up with a range of options, but we'll also come up with trigger points. So when our demand, based on our population, but when our water demand gets to certain levels, that'll be the trigger for us to start work on the next solution, that what we do next to further improve our water security. So that'll be over the next 20, 30, 40 years, and you'll see, you know, every maybe 5 years or 10 years, there'll be a project that'll be underway or started, kicked off, which will be aimed at further improving our water security as our population increases.
So since the last drought, Bruce, the pipeline from Dungowan Dam's finished, isn't it?
So, well, as part of the, and it is a good point, during the last drought, government built a pipeline from Chaffey Dam to the Dungowan pipeline.
Yes.
So that means that in the future, when Chaffey Dam gets to 20%,
Yep.
all the water that Tamworth takes out of Chaffey Dam will come through that pipeline,
Yep.
instead of it being released into the Peel River like
Yep.
it was before.
Yep.
And during the last drought, for every megalitre of water that we wanted to extract at our extraction point in Tamworth,
Yep.
they had to release 2 megalitres of water from the dam.
From Dungowan.
So from Chaffey
From
Dam.
Chaffey Dam, yep.
So that means that if there was 20,000 megalitres left in the dam,
Yep.
only 10,000 megalitres is actually usable. With a pipeline now, 20,000 left, we'll be able to get hold of all 20,000,
Yes.
and that improves our water security already.
So how many households would that service for how long, that infrastructure? You know,
Yeah.
the fact that you're
Yeah.
conserving more water, you're not, obviously it's not exposed to the elements where it evaporates.
Well, so let's just say that we had 20,000 left under the old arrangements.
Yep.
That's worth 10,000 megalitres of water available. 10,000 when we're under level 5 restrictions is probably going to be about 5,000 or 6,000 megalitres a year, so we get about 18 months out of 10,000.
Right.
20,000 we get twice as much as that.
Yep.
So, you know, 2 years, 36 months worth of water, and that's a huge improvement in our water security already, which was finished in the last drought. You mentioned the Dungowan pipeline. A bit of the Dungowan pipeline's been replaced, the bit between Dungowan village and town.
Yep.
So that means that we can now take our water from Chaffey Dam
Yes.
and put it in the new Dungowan pipeline and bring more water into town from both Chaffey Dam and from Dungowan. Still need to replace the pipeline from Dungowan village up to the existing Dungowan Dam. We're hopeful the government will come forward with some money to get that done.
To finish it off.
Yeah, finish it off.
And I guess that question comes up all the time in regards of, you know, I guess a big announcement was the funding that they were looking at putting towards the expansion of Dungowan,
Yeah.
or the new Dungowan Dam,
Yeah.
so to speak. That would be fair to say that probably has been set back a fair while now, I would have thought.
Yeah, like so the government has announced that both governments, the federal and the state governments, have said that they won't be funding the Dungowan Dam in the short term.
Yes.
Look, it's $1.3 billion, $650 million from both governments. It's a sizable amount of money. And what the council was looking for was from the government to say, well, look, we won't fund Dungowan Dam, but we will fund these other options that might be less expensive. And we're still hopeful that that's exactly what the government will do.
Yeah. So we'll go from water to waste, which is your other hat, Bruce.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a lot of very good recycle facilities here now. What other sort of new technology and projects have you got?
Well, look. So as you know, the council is still pursuing an organics recycling facility, which will allow us to. Well, at the moment, we take all the green waste that comes in through the green bins up to Forest Road waste facility at the moment, and it's turned into a compost there.
Yep.
But we haven't got enough room there to continue to do that long term. And also, we want to introduce our food organics, garden organics service. So that means that instead of putting your food organics in the red bin like you do now, we want to take that out of there and put that in the green bin because it can be composted as well. To do that, we need to build an organics recycling facility, and this has been on our books for a long time. It's very expensive, but we're confident that we're getting closer to being able to proceed with that project. And once that's up and running, then we will substantially reduce the amount of general waste that's put into the red lidded bin at the moment and put in the landfill at the moment. That waste will go into the green bin, go out to the organics recycling facility, and the only thing that'll be disposed of up in the landfill will be the general waste. Council purchased the Challenge site just at the entrance road there to the Forest Road waste facility, and that's where we will be taking in all of our curbside recyclables. That's the yellow bin. There'll be a decontamination process there where, you know, we want people to put paper and cardboard and in the yellow bins, but we don't want contamination. So we're going to decontaminate that there. Then it'll be taken away for processing. We're also now introduced this Kirby scheme, which is a soft plastics thing. At the moment, soft plastics, we're only one of 6 councils, I think, in Australia where have introduced this soft plastics recycling. And so you keep a bag under your sink and you put all of your soft plastics, so that's all of your Glad wrap or anything like that, chip packets, etc. Put that in there. You put that in your yellow bin, and that is separated when it comes into our site up there to be decontaminated. That's separated out. The curbside, the recyclables goes to one place to be processed, and the soft plastics goes to another place to be processed, and that's turned into more plastic, more packaging after that. So we've got a lot of it. We do cardboard recycling up there at the moment. We're keen to extend that. Our vision for that site up there is that anyone who goes in there with the waste on their car will drive past a number of different sites where they can drop off recyclable items, and then hopefully they haven't got anything left in their car, they can drive away. If they still have waste or waste that needs to be disposed of, then they can drive through and dispose of that. But we're hopeful that we'll be able to significantly reduce the amount of waste that's going into our landfill, and that'll be fantastic because it means that we don't have to build a new landfill. They're very expensive, and it'll take a lot of work. So it'll be great. The longer we can extend our current landfill, the better.
Oh, look, it's a great facility. There's no question about it. Because you've been here so long, I guess you've had the chance to educate your children in town here as well, and obviously we've got to know each other through our sons, and they've both kicked on very, very nicely, and probably at some stage they may come back to Tamworth, you never know, but certainly they found their education very worthwhile and gave them plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, so I'm not a Tamworth local. I grew up in Queensland, but I found myself here, and obviously I met my wife, who is from Corindai originally, but we settled here, and look, we love the place, and we had 2 children, obviously, that they grew up here, and you know, I couldn't fault the education that they got, and that the lifestyle that we had, you know, with sport and whatever. My daughter rode a horse, and my son was involved in lots of sporting activities. So I couldn't fault the place for that. And now look, they've moved away. They're obviously both went to university. As you say, they may come back, but you know, we've got plans. Obviously, the town's got plans for a university here, and that means in the future maybe not as many have to go away. It'll be fantastic.
No, well, really appreciate your time. I thought I'd make mention. This is an e-book that you've got online, isn't it? That people can go and download. It's a 36-page e-book on everything to do with water and waste in Tamworth. So you can go online and download that if they want to get more detail about what we spoke about. But it's very reassuring, Bruce, knowing that there was obviously a lot to learn from the last drought, and I think we're in a far better position for the next drought cycle, which could be starting as we speak. Actually, things have dried off a bit, haven't they?
That's right. Yeah. Well, we had a lot of rain, and usually what follows rain is a drought. So we're getting ready for that. But as you say, look, we've had since 2006-07, which was the first drought that I got involved in. We've had a full-time water sustainability officer employed by the council, one of the few councils that does that, and that has been solely targeting educating the community about how we can save water, and documents like you mentioned, the result of that. And look, we've been the community at large have been very successful in their education and learning about the need to conserve our water. Yeah.
Well, Bruce, thank you very much.
Thanks, really, no problem.
Really appreciate your time.
Thanks very much.
Your expertise, and certainly 18 years of very strong knowledge in both those fields, and I think Tamworth is very grateful for the part that you've played in its growth.
Good on you. Thanks very much.